Good morning. It's 6:51 a.m. on Wednesday, September 30th, 2015. I'm Christiana Ellis and I just got up. This is 5 more minutes. So, uh, I thought today maybe I would talk a little bit about something that, I don't know, I don't have my thoughts organized about this or anything, but the phenomenon of having too much stuff to entertainment wise. Okay, yeah. You can tell I don't have my thoughts organized. Um, this is the feeling, and I'm not 100% sure how deceptive this feeling is or how much it might be different than past times or whether it's really just a subjective feeling. But the idea that, like, there's so many TV shows and so many movies and so many video games and so many books and so many miscellaneous things out there that you couldn't do it all even if you wanted, even if you didn't have a day job, even if you could just lay around all day just consuming media, there's still more than you could ever do. And just that the feeling of frustration and anxiety that that can produce, which is, of course, when you can take a step back and think about it rationally, it's not only silly, it's kind of, I don't know, it's almost problematic. It's this idea that somehow the things that make you nervous in the world could be, oh, but I don't have time to watch this show and see that movie and read that book. It's just too much. I'm playing this game too, and it's just like, oh no, how am I going to ever get back to this other game? And I think part of what that's about, maybe part of what that's about is like, it makes me wonder back when, say, TV was something where you really only had like 3 channels and no VCRs or DVRs or anything. If you were going to watch a show, you had to be there in front of the TV when that show was on. But because there were so few channels, there was a much higher likelihood that if someone else was watching TV, then they watched the same thing that you did, and they saw the same episode that you did, and they were in the same place that you did, that you are, and so you can talk about it. And I know that for me, one of the things that is fun about media is talking about it afterwards with people that have seen it. So whether it's TV shows or movies or video games or whatever it is, you like to be able to talk about it. But part of the difficulty with having so many different choices available these days is that it's so much harder to have, to have that common ground. Like, maybe someone else loves this TV show just as much as you do, but they don't have cable, so they're a season behind, so you can't talk about the newest episode. Or let's say you both have cable, you're both DVRing it every week, but that they're just a couple of episodes behind because they've been playing this video game that they want to talk about with you, but you can't because you haven't played it. And it can produce this weird, like, almost keeping up with the Joneses type of anxiety to it, which I think I've talked about before in the sense that how silly it is when you think about it rationally that you could ever allow your entertainment, the stuff that you are doing for fun whenever you want, to have it become a source of anxiety in any way is kind of, it's like contrary to the actual intended purpose of the activity. And yet it can happen, and I don't really know how to stop it or what to do about it. But it just becomes this thing where watching TV or any other activity like that can end up taking up as much time as you allow it to, without, like, you'll never get it all. It's that collectibles got to get it all stuff. Like in video games, there's these open world games where they'll have so many collectibles that it might take you dozens and dozens of hours to actually get everything. And what do you get from collecting all those things? Well, maybe you get like a little trophy in the video game or something. It's like a little digital trophy. It says, bing, you got all the collectibles. You are perfectionistic and obsessive compulsive. But you can't do that in real life. Like, that's just not how life works. You know, you can't ever really get it all. And I suppose you just kind of have to learn how to be at peace with it. I'm definitely not at peace with it. The other thing is, of course, to occasionally remind yourself, you know, when we talk about first world problems, but at the same time, you know, without wanting to diminish that idea that it is a first world problem, that sort of thing, I think it does kind of come back to the idea, too, that lots of times our emotions are coming to us internally rather than externally, and we are projecting them so that we believe that whatever it is that's external is making it. But it's kind of like, I don't know. I'm rambling nonsense now. I gotta get to work. All right, so I'll talk to you guys tomorrow for 5 more minutes. I hope that some of this made sense at all, and I don't know, maybe it doesn't. Who knows? There's too many shows to watch. All right, talk to you guys later.